can see us, and now we can hear you. Mazel tov, mazel tov, mazel tov.
Fantastic.
He can't hear us for some reason.
Oh, okay.
Brian, can you hear us? Oh, Mary.
Jacob, won't you allow me to share, or if you can put up the pages?
All right, can I start? Thank you. Temple Israel, Hillbrow, Johannesburg, South Africa is delighted, if you could mute everyone, is delighted to welcome you to the second in our series with Lael Bethlehem, teaching us how to read Hebrew from our Siddur, and not phonetically as I do either, but the real thing. Over to you, Lael.
Thank you very much, Reba. Hello, everybody. Lovely that everybody's here. I'm sure we've got a few people who were with us last time that are still going to join us, but let's keep up the momentum. And I hope that everybody's getting.
I see more bloody.
It is.
Will you mute everyone, please?
It's muted.
Yeah, they unmute themselves, unfortunately.
All right.
So anyway, I hope everybody's getting satisfaction from the fact that you know your first three Hebrew letters, your first vowel, and really it's going to be quick, and you're going to be reading from the Siddur. So, Jacob, shall I just share my screen?
I can as well. I downloaded it.
Then please do. I see Kay has joined us, who perhaps hasn't been with us before. So very, very welcome. And Rob's missed last week, but we're catching up, so that's all good. And I think everybody else was with us last week, so that's really great. By the way, if anybody in between lessons wants to catch up on anything or repeat anything, that's all good as well. So as soon as we've got our pages, what I'm going to start with is, there we go. So we just are going to do a little bit of revision to start with. So last time, what we learned is that the way Hebrew reading works is you learn a consonant, a letter, and then you combine it with the vowel. The vowel doesn't actually appear in the alphabet. You do learn the vowels. They are formal things, but they don't really have their own place in the alphabet. And as you get more fluent in Hebrew, the vowels are left out altogether, which is why in the Torah you won't see any vowels. And even on a road sign in Israel, or on a street sign, or in the newspaper, you won't see any vowels. But thankfully for all of us, in the Siddur you do see the vowels, and that is what helps us to read. But the way that reading happens in Hebrew is it's simply a matter of combining the consonant with the vowel. Now, the vowel mostly sits underneath the consonant, and therefore the method of reading Hebrew is firstly to read downwards. In other words, what you do is you combine letter plus vowel. So last time we learned these three letters, b, sh, and t, the bet, the shin, and the taf. And we learned one vowel, which is the one that you see on your screen now. In fact, it's two vowels, but it has both vowels are exactly the same, at least for our purposes now. There are a couple of exceptions here and there. But where you see that X, underneath the X is a placeholder. Where you see underneath the X, the little T sign or the flat dash, those are both the same sign, and they make the sound. They make the sound ah, 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 as in up, or ah, as in Shabbat. So all you do to read Hebrew is you combine a consonant that you recognize, the b, plus the vowel that you recognize, you say ba, and then you combine the consonant that you know, the sh, with its vowel, sh plus a, sha. Then you combine the t with the a, t plus a, ta. So in Hebrew, first you read downwards because you are combining letter plus vowel. And having read downwards, you then move from right to left. Whereas in English, we read from left to right. In Hebrew, we read from right to left. So if you'll just go down a bit more, please, Jacob. So if we stop there, so what we saw in these lines, so the first line is, the first letter is just the sound b, and then it's ba, 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 b, ba, 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 ba. And the same with the sh. The first one is just the sound sh, and then it's sh plus a, sha, 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 and sha. Can you see my arrow, by the way, my cursor? You can, great. So here, can you see if I circle the t with my cursor, can you see it? No, okay, because I'm not sharing. But it's t, and then ta, 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 ta. Thank you. And then if you go on to the next line, ta, sha, ba, ba, sha, ta, sha, ba, ta. And then that's really how Hebrew is read. And then in order to form a word, if I go to the second last line now, it starts off with a simple t plus a, ta, and then it goes on to combining two letters. So in this case, they're both t, tat, and then bab, shash, shub, and shut. And then the last line, bash, bat, tush, tub, shub, and bash. And that's really how Hebrew is read. First you combine letter plus vowel, and you read downwards, and then you read across. So if I go onto line 5, so line 5 is sha, ba, ba, sha, sha, ta, tash, ba, ta, ta, ba. And then I hope this is what you're all saying to yourselves, because I'm going to ask you, even if you're muted, to read with me. So let's read together line 6. If you read something different from what I say, then we need to just clarify. Let's read line 6 together. Sha, shub, ba, shub, ta, shub, sha, shut, and sha. So what I'll do is I'll ask each person. So I'm going to ask us to unmute now. And I'm just going to give each person, if you're comfortable, just to read one word. If you don't feel like reading or you want to skip this time, just say so. But I'd like just to hear that everybody has learned that skill of combining the word and the vowel, and then the letter and the vowel, and then moving across to the next letter. So, Reva, could I ask you to read, please, the first word of line 6?
Of line 6.
That's right.
Yeah. Shashab.
Shashab, excellent. Peter, will you read the next one?
I'm giving it to Harold. Oh, Peter.
Sorry, I meant Peter Hunter.
Oh.
Okay. Bashab.
Excellent, thank you. And now you, Peter Joffe, the third one.
Sorry, my internet is not stable.
Okay, well we can skip you for now if you prefer, Peter Joffe.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. Robert, you missed last time. Are you able to read that word?
I can do it. Yeah, because also I went to Cheder for many years. Eh?
There you go. Read us that word.
Tashab.
Excellent. Tarai, can you follow on? Next word.
Yeah, that's shashat.
Excellent. Harriet, can you give us the next word?
Shaba.
Excellent. Marion, the first word of line 7.
Babash.
Excellent. Jacob, the next word of line 7, the second one.
Shabash.
Excellent. Kay, I don't think I've met you, Kay, but if you're able to read that next word, the third one of line 7. Okay, Kay is still muted, so I'm going to skip over that one and hope that what Kay would have read is tabash. And then let me just ask you all to read with me with your mute. No, you don't have to mute. Let's read together, starting with tabash. Tabash.
Bash.
Bat.
Bash.
Bat.
And now line 8. Shabat.
Bat.
Bat.
Bash.
Sorry, I see Casey that I skipped you out. Sorry for that. Let me ask Casey to read the first word of line 7.
Babash.
Excellent. Okay, so I think everybody has the basic method. First, you combine word with consonant with vowel, then you read across, and really that is all that there is to it. So now, Jacob, you can skip along. We're going to go on to chapter 2. So really what we've done so far is we've learned 3 letters and 2 vowels, but both the vowels are the same. So that means that it's really just the one sound. In this lesson 2, we are going to learn 4 really, letters, and we are going to learn 1 new vowel. So we've already learned the bet, which is the second one on that row that you see. So we're going to learn the aleph. The bet we've already learned. The one next to the bet is almost identical. It's called the vet. Then there's the gimel, then there's the daled. And these are the first 4 really letters of the Hebrew alphabet, because as you will see, bet and vet are kind of variations of each other. So we are going to start with the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet and the first one on the page, which is called the aleph. So Jacob, just circle the aleph for us, please. And the letter aleph, which of course gives us the word alphabet, aleph, bet. That's what the alphabet is. The alphabet is the alphabet. So the aleph is a very strange letter. The aleph isn't an A, because remember the vowels are not really in the alphabet. The aleph is a silent letter. Now, why on earth would anybody require a silent letter? And the answer is simply because sometimes you need to hear the sound of the vowel. So what if you need to say Abba, father? You need to start with ah. How do you say ah in Hebrew? Well, you got to say the vowel ah, which is the one that you learned. But how do you say ah by itself without combining it with a letter? For that, you need a silent letter. So what the silent letter, the aleph, does is it simply allows us to voice out the vowel, to say the sound of the vowel. It is like a placekeeper to hear the vowel. It does exactly the same as what those 2 X's do in the line that he has used. So it's like a box. It just allows you to say the sound of the vowel. And we'll come to practicing it in a moment. So that's the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet. It is silent. It is simply a conduit. It is a placeholder. It allows you to say the sound of the vowel. So the vowel will be underneath it, and you will say the sound of the vowel. The second one we've already learned, it's bet. Now the third one is the sibling of the bet. It's the vet. Now, it looks exactly the same, except it doesn't have a dot in the middle. And as you will learn, most of the time, if they put a dot into the letter, it doesn't matter. But there are 4 letters where it does matter. Don't be intimidated. We'll learn them. And in the end, you'll see they all follow the same pattern. So it's not difficult to learn. For today, all you need to know is the b and the v. Now, I want you to just say to yourself in your own space, b, v, b, v. Can you hear that v is really just a soft version of the sound b? So, b, v, b, v. So Hebrew sees them actually as the same letter. But the one is hard and the one is soft. B is hard. V is soft. To make it hard, Hebrew puts a dot in the middle. And I had a Hebrew teacher who used to say it's like if somebody kicks a ball and hits you in the tummy, that's hard. It's going to produce a hard sound from you. Oh, you got hit in the tummy with a ball. So when the letter gets hit in the tummy with the ball, it goes ba. But when it's left to its own devices, no dot, no football, it's just v. So the b and the v are really just variations of the same letter. So we've learned now b and v. And b behaves exactly the same as v, except that the one time you harden the sound to say b, and the other time you soften it to say v. And that's why in Hebrew, they're not actually, if you look at a Hebrew alphabet, they're not repeated. It's not aleph, bet, vet. It's aleph, bet, because the vet is really just a variation on the bet. The third, or in this line, fourth letter, that little guy that looks kind of like a, I don't know, like a boot almost, that is called the gimel. G, gimel, what we would call a G. And you might tell yourself that the reason you know that it's a gimel is because it's got a gap at the bottom. Can you see the little gap at the bottom? So it's like a high-heeled shoe. It's got a gap at the bottom. Somebody I know used to say it's like a Gucci shoe. Gimel. It's got a high heel. It's got the gap at the bottom. That letter is gimel, g. And the last letter on the line is the fourth letter of the Hebrew alphabet, which is d. D for door, D. D. And you might even say it looks a bit like a doorway. Some people remember it that way. So let's just go back over those letters. Aleph is a silent letter. It doesn't say anything. It just allows you space to voice the vowel. It might sound ludicrous, but you'll see it works very easily. Aleph, silent. Say the vowel. Bet, vet, gimel, dalet. Or if I say the sounds rather than the name of the letter, silent. B, v, g, d. So it's quite a lot to remember, but don't worry, we're going to practice them. And then we'll know all of them. So if we go down, thank you, Jacob. So just pause there. Aleph silent letter, B as in boy, V as in vine, G as in girl, D as in door. Aleph, bet, vet, gimel, and dalet. Let's keep going down. Thank you, Jacob. Okay, so now, you see there it says sha. So they've taken the sha that we've already learned, the shin. They've put the a underneath it. They got sha. Then all they did is they put an aleph next. So the aleph there doesn't do anything or say anything. It's just quiet. So sha. If the aleph wasn't there, you would say the same thing. You would say sha. And then the next example they've given, they've taken the aleph and the a, and then they've added the d. So you look at the aleph and you look at the vowel beneath it. The letter doesn't say anything, but the vowel says ah. And so you say ah. And then you move across and there's a d. And so you say ad, ad, ad. So that's really how it works. Don't worry, there's going to be lots of practicing of that. But before we practice, they want to introduce us, the book wants to introduce us to a new vowel. So let's do that so that we can all start practicing. So the new vowel is simply a dot that appears underneath the letter. So the X is a letter, just standing in for any letter. And underneath it is one single dot. And the sound that the dot makes is E. E, E. And then if that E is followed by a little half letter that you see there, which is called the yud. Then instead of saying E, you elongate it, you say E. So it's either E, or if it's got the yud after, you say E. So that's a lot to take in. Let's go down to line 1, if we may, please, Jacob. So the first letter on line 1 is the aleph, silent. It's got a vowel underneath it. The vowel is E. So what do you say for the first letter of line 1? You simply say E. The second letter of line 1 has got this little kind of, what's it called in English? It's not a comma when it's there, it's a quotation mark, isn't it? It's like got a little quotation mark almost.
Apostrophe.
Apostrophe, thank you. Like a backwards apostrophe, isn't it? So if it's got that one afterwards, all it does is it elongates the vowel. So E, E, B, B, V, V, G, G, D, and D. Let's look at line 2. D, Da, V, B, Ga, Gi, I, A, Gi, Di, Va. So all we're doing, we're combining the new letter that we learned with the new vowel that we learned. Don't go too far yet, please, Jacob. Let's stick with lines 1 and 2. I think what I'm going to do, it does require a bit of patience, and sorry for that, but I think I'm going to ask each person to read a whole line, because then we're going to see. And don't worry if you've forgotten what the vowel says or the letter says. Just let me know, and we'll give you a chance to catch up. Reva, can you read line 1 for us, please?
I knew that was coming. Okay. E, E, B, B, V, V, G, G, D, D.
Well done, Reva, 100%. Peter Hunter, line 2. You are muted still.
D, Da, B, B, Ga, Gi, A,
Not
A.
I. E.
Oh, E, sorry, E, A, Gi, Di, Va.
Excellent. Kesia, could you read line 2 for us?
D, Da, V, B, Ga, Gi, I, A, Gi, Di, Va.
Excellent. Robin, line 1.
E, E, B, B, V, V, Ga,
Not
Gi.
Gara.
Is that a dot?
Yep.
Gi, Gi.
Good.
I'm struggling to see the dots from this, the
Sorry.
little Gi, and then Gi,
Good.
D, D.
Excellent. What was your Gede teacher's name? Bloemfontein?
Morahenya.
There you. Oh, Morahenia. Okay, there you go. Harold, I don't. Peter Joffe, I don't know if you can unmute or if you want to have a turn. Or Harold, or if it's difficult, we'll skip over you. Unmute if you can, Peter Joffe. Let's have line 1 from you, please.
I can't.
You can't see them clearly.
No.
Can I tell you what, Peter? You just say them to yourself at home. That's much better.
Okay.
But you're also welcome to say them to yourself at home. Okay, we do it that way.
Yeah, and then we'll carry on.
Fine, but no, that's much better. Tarai, can we ask you for line 2, please?
Okay. Dear. Dear. Then D.
So D and then
D.
da. So that
Oh,
vowel
da.
is da. D and da. Good.
And then I've got V.
Good. V.
And then Ba.
Okay, so you're mixing your vowels up a little bit. So the little flat line is A, and the dot is E or E, followed by the apostrophe. Okay, but if it's just by itself, it's E. So it should be D, da,
D.
B,
And then
B,
V. Okay.
B, and then B. That's good. So what's after B?
G.
Ga.
No, this is Ga. Ga. And then
Ga.
G.
Good.
This is E. And
Good.
E. And I believe that's G.
Okay, so that one has foxed you because the Aleph and the Gimel do look a little bit similar. But just look at that again. What's the letter?
It's just a flat. Okay, just a
That's
flat
right.
line. So
So
that's A.
That's right. Ah. And then
Ear.
E.
And then I think that's a dot. So that's a D.
D.
D. And then Ba.
Very good. Very good. So let's just refresh on the vowels. So the flat line underneath the letter, either if it's the flat line or if it's got the little like T shape underneath it, they both have the same sound, which is ah, as in Shabbat. Ah, 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 ah. Shabbat, or up. The little dot underneath the letter is an E, like an I, E, or if it gets elongated, E. So line 2 is a difficult line because it combines lots of different things. You've got to remember the letters and you've got to remember the vowels, and then you've got to combine them successfully. So Harriet, won't you also please try line 2 for us?
D.
Good.
Da.
Good.
B.
B. Yeah.
B. No, it's a
Good.
V.
So
V, and that's B.
So that's right. So V.
That's B.
And
Sorry, we're in different places.
Oh.
That's Ga,
Good.
Gi, I, A, Gi, D, and Va.
Excellent. So when the dot is by itself, it's a shortish sound. D.
Oh, okay.
B. E. Great. So who hasn't had a turn in this round? Casey, have you? You want to try line 1? Oh, you've had a turn in this round. Okay. Okay. So just to recap, line 1: E, E, B, B, V, V, G, G, D, D. Line 2: D, da, V, ba, sorry, V, B, ga, G, I, A, G, D, and Va. So let's see if we can carry on that same pattern. Now we can go down. Thank you. So here they go into a little explanation. Is Serona there? Okay, I'm so sorry, Serona and Jacob. I skipped you. You are next. You are definitely next. So here they're just telling us that that the dot is generally not important, except when you learn that it is, like the b and the v. But I don't want to dwell on this now because I think it's just sort of unnecessarily confusing for now. So I'm going to ask you to keep going down, Jacob. Okay, so just reminding us of the letters that we've learned. Let's keep going. Keep going down. Keep going down. Okay, so that's just reminding us of the letters and their sounds. I want to practice reading, so you can keep going down. Thank you, Jacob. Keep going. Okay, good. So now here we are on line 1 again. So what I want to do is I want to see if we can all read those lines. So maybe what we should do for now is we should ask you to stay on mute, but read with me. And if you are saying something different from me, then we need to clarify. But let's read together. You muted, me not muted. Line 1. I, B, V, G, D, she, T, B, sorry, V, and then A. And I don't know what that last vowel actually is. It an A? I think it's, I don't know if it's a dot or an A. Let's call it a dot, then it would be G. Line 2. Please read in your own space, but along with me. E, B, V, G, D, she, T, and E. So anybody want to clarify anything from line 1 or 2? Line 3. A, av, it, ish, and ad. So now let me see if I can get you to help me. Line 4. So line 4 starts with the letter bet, but, so you don't really have to read it, it's just saying the letter. So we'll start on line 4, but the second character. Peter Hunter, can you do line 4 for us?
Ba.
Good, so let's start with the second one, please, Jacob, the second character. Ba, that's it, ba.
Ba, ba, be, but,
Good,
beat,
good.
bush.
Excellent. Let's go to line 5. Serona, could you try line 5 for us?
I'm a bit reluctant to read it at this stage. Can I do it?
Please, Jacob.
Va, va, vi, vat, vit, bish.
Vish, excellent. Vish, excellent, fantastic. Harriet, could you try line 6?
G. That's how you say the first one. G, ga, ga. That's 2 vowels.
Interesting one.
Guy.
That's right. So all they did is they tried to fox you by putting a dot into the G.
And the dot means nothing.
Just ignore the dot. It's the same as ga.
So I got the trick question.
Yeah, sorry.
Ga, ga, gi, ga, ga, trick again. Gav,
Good.
gosh,
Gosh, good.
gosh, and gi, what's that one?
Yeah.
Gid, gid.
Very good. Very, very good, Harry. So basically, what you've got to train your eye about dots. If you haven't been taught that a dot is significant, ignore it. I know it's irritating and, you know, it's just sort of unnecessary. And if I was writing the book, I wouldn't put these extraneous dots in now because you really don't need to. But anyway, that's the rule. So the only dot that you need to take notice of at the moment is the one that's in the B. All other dots in middle of letters, just ignore them. Just try and make your eye ignore it.
But why, Learn, if I can ask you, why should it be relevant in a B and not in anything else?
Yeah, you know,
I'm logical, I got to know.
Probably for historic reasons. Probably, you know, somewhere, you know, so Hebrew came from Aramaic. And these languages are thousands of years old, as you know. Probably at some stage it meant something. Why in English do we say that PH is F? Why is psychology written with a P, for goodness sake?
Yeah, you're right. But
You know, who knows? Probably at some stage there was a reason. But now we just tell out, you look at the word psychology. Do you notice anymore that it starts with a P?
No. So the only time the dot matters is when it's a B or a V. Finished. The rest
So
we
far.
ignore.
There were
In
a
the
couple
middle of
more
a letter.
items. Yeah, there are a couple more where it matters, and you'll learn them as well. And again, if I was writing this is one of the reasons that I don't love. So this book is not perfect, according to me, but it's the best one I have found. If I was to write my own, I wouldn't deal with the dots now. It's not necessary. So please bear with the book, bear with us. Unless you have been told that the dot is relevant, please just try your best to ignore it. And it does make me sort of feel for all the people who try and learn English and have to put up with things like psychology. So with the Gimel, just try and get your eye to pretend it isn't there. Okay, so line 7, let's ask Cassia. Cassia's still there. Yeah, Cassia's there.
Da, di, div,
Good.
dub,
Good.
dug.
Excellent. Excellent. So you are dealing with the letter D and with the vowels A, E, E. And then you simply are combining them.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please do.
So we've got E and E, which is kind of like a mouse and a rat, right? What about E?
E. E is another sound.
It's a different sound. So a small E, a single E, is a different sound.
That's right. So
okay.
So E, like I think of it as an I. E. It.
E. Okay, got it.
And then the one with the little apostrophe, it's just a longer E. 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 E is another vowel. We're going to come to it later.
Okay.
So now.
It's easy to remember that E sound is if you've got an I, it's a dot on top of the I.
Very good point. Great point. That's exactly what it is. E. E. So, Robin, can you read line 6 for us?
G, ga, 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 gi, ga, gav, gash, gid.
Excellent. Taurai, can you read line 5 for us? The first letter, you can just tell us what the first letter sound is, since it doesn't have a vowel.
Okay, that's a V.
That's a V. That's right. So it's a V. So it's the soft one because it doesn't have a soccer ball in its tummy. V. So the second one is V plus A, so it's Va. Good. And then?
This one, it's a line, just a flat line, and flat line it's A, so vas again.
Exactly. So 2 and 3 are exactly the same. Va and va. Good. Next one.
This one, it's V.
V. That's right. V.
Okay, and this one, it's vat.
Excellent. And then?
Viat.
Again?
Wheat.
Wheat. Excellent. Wheat.
Okay.
Hello.
And
This is there's no dot, so that's vash.
vish. Vish.
Fish.
You just got the vowel. So vish, exactly. Exactly. So this is quite a difficult chapter because they've packed quite a lot in to one chapter. So you've learnt a new vowel with a variation, and you've learnt 4 new letters, which is really quite a lot. But you've all grasped the basic logic of what is going on here. So we're nearly out of time, but I'll just ask Jacob just to go on to the next page. And let's see. Okay. So let's just look at those lines 1, 2, and 3. Please, Jacob, a bit further down. Okay. So these lines, probably if you look at them, they look a bit scary because there's quite a lot. But actually, it's the same as what you've had before, but it's now combining 3 letters. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read these lines. Try and read with me or see what I'm doing. And then for homework for next week, I want everyone to try and work on these lines. So line 1, av, abba, avi, avad, ibad. Now, if I just tell you about that line, the first word av means father. Av harachamim. You remember av harachamim. Av, father. The second word, abba means dad. So it's also father, but it's the familiar term. Av, father. You wouldn't call God Abba. You would call God Av. But your own dad, you'd call Abba. Abba. The third word, Avi. Avi means my father. Avad. Ibad. So it's quite hard already. And don't get intimidated because it's just a matter of learning to put it all together and repeating. Let me read line 2 for you.
Can I just ask something?
Please do.
The second word, dad, why put the silent letter at the end with nothing?
Yes.
Why not
So-
just have the first 2 letters? That's the
Yeah.
word.
It's a good question. So Hebrew doesn't really like a vowel to stand by itself without anything to end the word off. So sometimes the word gets ended off with an aleph like that. And sometimes, as you'll see later on, the word gets ended off with a hey, ha, because it's a bit like the English word ah. If you say the English word ah, you don't hear the H. It's just like an end, but you wouldn't just have the A, right? You say ah. So it's exactly the same. It doesn't want to just leave the vowel hanging there. It wants to end it off. So it usually ends it off either with the aleph or with the hey, huh, because you can make that kind of silent, but that only happens at the end of a word. So really that aleph means nothing. It's just neatness. It's a preference that Hebrew has. Don't want to leave the vowel hanging. Av, abba, avi, avad, ibad. Any other questions on line 1? Good, I'm going to read line 2. Adash, baish, ishi, ish. I'm going to read it again. Adash, baish, ishi, ish. The word ish in Hebrew means man, ish. Line 3. Bi, ba'ash, bagad, bag, bad. I'll read it again. Bi, ba'ash, bagad, bag, bad. line 4. And Harriet's question comes up here now again in the first word of line 4. Ba. If ba didn't have the aleph there, it would still say ba. By the way, it's a real word, ba, baruch haba. Ba means to come. Baruch haba, blessed are those who come. Ba, bata. Now there you see, Harriet, you've got the aleph in the middle of the word. What does it do? Absolutely nothing. Do you need it there? Absolutely not. Just there. So ba, bata, bati. And here's a nice confusing one. The second last word of the fourth line. But. They put the aleph in the middle. What does it do there? Nothing. It doesn't need to help the vowel. It doesn't need to be there. But if you see the aleph with no vowel, nothing. But. So it has the same sound as the next word, which is but.
So, Lel, there's no difference between the two words, and the aleph is just doing there nothing.
Right. So the aleph.
They mean different things.
No, in fact, the truth is that the bet aleph taf, the second last word, is not a real word. It's not a real word. They're just trying to get your eye used to the idea that if there is an aleph, which there sometimes is in the middle of a word, but it has no vowel, you just ignore it. So it's just a conduit for the vowel. So let me read line 4 again. Ba, that is a real word. The aleph is at the end of that word. Ba, bata, bati, but again. And let me read line 5.
Gav.
That's right. Gav, gabi, gag, gadad, gadi, and gut. So now how many lines are there on this page? Remind us. Just looking. Okay. So that's rather a lot.
Can I ask something? So never, ever, ever in real Hebrew writing would you get but with that silent word. They're just doing it here to trick us.
They're doing it, that's right, just to trick you and to get you.
Okay, then I'm happy. Thank you.
Good. So I don't, it can be a bit overwhelming, all of this. So I don't want to sort of just keep going. Plus, we are pretty much run out of time. So what I want to ask you to do in your own time between now and next week is to take this page, which is lesson 2. It's lesson 2, and it's page, I'll tell you now. Okay, so when I sent it to you, I didn't give you page numbers. Sorry about that. I should probably send it again with page numbers, but it's the very last page of the pages that I sent. Okay, and it has on it 8 lines, 8 numbered lines that you see in front of you. I would like you to practice the first 5 of those lines. So not 6, 7, and 8, because that's like another level of sophistication. Just lines 1 to 5. And if you can get a chance, just send me a voice note with you reading lines 1 to 5. And then I'll just listen, and if I pick up an error, I'll let you know. Otherwise, I'll just send you a thumbs up. So try and send me lines 1 to 5 from the very last page of what I've sent you, which is the last page of lesson 2. If you start trying to read lines 1 to 5 and you can't remember either the vowel or the sound or anything else, just drop me a WhatsApp and I promise you I'll reply. Or send me a voice note or call me. And if I can answer, I will, and I'll just take you through it. So that's what I'd like you to be able to do. I'd like you to be able to read line 1 to 5, and let's see how you all do. And then next week, we'll do lines 6, 7, and 8. And we might, depending on how we're doing, then move on to another letter. But I don't want you to feel overwhelmed. We've learned a lot today. We've learned 2 new vowels, and we've learned 4 new letters. So it's a lot to get used to. And the main thing is just to apply the same method. Combine the letter and the vowel and read across. That's the method of Hebrew. It's just a matter of getting used to the mechanics of it. Any other questions? Or any other words, real ones? Yes. So let's go to the top of line 1, please. And in fact, this is, sorry, Jacob, let's go to the bottom of the page. So they want to show you at the bottom of the page that you've now learnt 6 real words. Let's just quickly look at them. Shabbat, Av, father, Avi, my father, Ba, comes, Ish, man, Bat, daughter. Now there are 1 or 2 other real words, like on line 5, the word gav is a back, as in I have my back. My back is sore, gav. The third one, gag, is a roof. Gag is a roof. And the last word of line 6, dag, is a fish. So yes, what they do in this book is they throw in real words and not real words, just because they need to get you to practice the letters that you've already got. And then at the bottom of each chapter, they tell you about words, particularly words from our tradition that you now know. And now there are 6, Shabbat, Av, Avi, Ba, Ish, and Bat. But I hope what you can see is that, we've spent, I don't know, an hour and a half together so far. And basically, you can read some Hebrew words. And you'll just see, you just keep applying the same logic, but you learn more consonants and you learn how to put slightly more complicated sounds together. And then that is how you learn to read Hebrew. So please do send me a voice note, lines 1 to 5 if you can. If you want to call me, please do. Come, my father, fish. Fantastic. On the roof. So yeah, send me a voice note, call me with questions, and if anything has confused you so far, give me a shout and I'll do my best to explain it. Other than that, thank you all. We see you again next week.
That was so great.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank
Al.
you.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Okay.
Start if you have questions.
Okay.